we, the technology enthusiasts, the developers, the community, and all the people who are into IT, not just into IT, but related to IT, they have some relation with IT, are always excited about the open source contributions and especially the Hacktoberfest. Hacktoberfest is an event in which every community and every open source enthusiast come together, do some open source contributions mainly in GitHub and GitLab so that they can actually get started with their open source career or their journey. If they are actually a developer who has started their career, then they can further enhance their skills. And if you have enhanced your skills up to a level, and if you want to give back to your community, or you want to do something for the community, you want to do something for the beginners who are yet starting their journey, or who are who are interested about IT and who are passionate about these open source contributions but don't know where to start. So you want to do something for those folks who are interested into this field. So if you are a beginner, then you can start with your open source journey here at the Hacktoberfest. And if you are a pro, then you can mentor a lot of students and a lot of developers who are starting their career. So what do you mean by Hacktoberfest and what does we do in this Hacktoberfest? Hacktoberfest is a festival for developers to come together and contribute. So how we contribute? So mainly we use GitHub for contributions. In GitHub, we can do a lot number of contributions in a lot number of various ways. We actually create repositories. Repositories are nothing but a place or a folder to store your code and all your project details, like your project, whatever be your project will be having a description. Your project will be having, let it be a web application, let it be an Android application, let it be a machine learning project. So your project will be having some front end, some back end, some integration codes, some testing codes. Then it may have a database, it may not have a database, and then it will be having some images, it will be having some video stuff, it will be having some media. Whatever files you have, you want to place all your files in a single place. That single place is called a repository. So whoever wants to contribute to your your project or want to get benefits out of your project, like if your project is about a application and I as a developer or I as an end user wants to install that particular web application and test it out, or just I want to use your particular application, I can come to your repository, download your code, and just do whatever I want with that code. The best thing about GitHub is the code that you actually wrote will be always there. Like if someone is actually contributing to your code, it will not be directly affecting your code. They can create branches and they can do development simultaneously. The main branch or the main code will be there as it is. So the testing process, the development process, the integration process will be always easy when you are using GitLab or GitHub. Yeah, my name is Kai here. I'm a privacy advocate and a security evangelist. I'm currently working with Ernst Young Global Delivery Services as a threat analyst for the managed detection and response team. And it's been a couple of years since I've started my journey with open source. Uh, I've started my journey when I was a first year in my college. I've started my open source contributions. Mainly I use GitHub instead of GitLab. I'm more focused towards GitHub for my own reasons. You can actually choose between GitHub or GitLab as per your convenience. I have a lot number of repositories and I do a lot number of projects. So whenever I do a project and if that code is not belonging to a particular client or my client actually allows me to publicly distribute my code, then I put my code in GitHub so that everyone can access that code and contribute to that particular project. So let's start. So I told you about Hacktoberfest, but in Hacktoberfest, a lot number of organizations come together. Like we have a lot number of organizations who share their code publicly. We have not for profit organizations, we have companies, and we have communities. So all the companies, communities, not for profit organizations, like the NGOs, the government organizations come together and they encourage the newcomers and the developers out there to start their journey and do some codings. So there are actually a lot number of ways in which you can contribute. If you are a beginner, there are beginner level. issues that you can take up and you can do your like contributions. And if you are a pro, then there are medium level medium level task or a hard level task that you can actually go and do. Now uh, if you are starting your journey, then you must be knowing that which are all the repositories that are participating in the Hacktoberfest. How can I start my journey, or how can I contribute to a particular repositories? What are the things that I need to make sure that I am eligible for this particular thing? So Hacktoberfest, when I'm talking about Hacktoberfest, it's mainly about the DigitalOcean's Hacktoberfest. So in order to get started with DigitalOcean's Hacktoberfest, you need to go to the site hacktoberfest.digitalocean.com, and you need to register yourself out there. And after once you have registered out there, then you can start doing your open source contributions. By open source contributions, I mean pull request and merge request. Like, you have to fork a repository, do some work out there, make a pull request. If your pull request is accepted or approved, then you are qualified. Like, when you successfully make 4 pull requests, then you are eligible for winning a t-shirt this year. Like, all the past years, we have seen that DigitalOcean used to provide a cool t-shirt to the eligible candidates, but this year they have given an option to choose between a t-shirt or plant a tree. So it's your wish. If you are eligible and you have successfully completed your 4 pull requests, then either you can go for a t-shirt or you can go for planting a tree. It's your wish. So what is open source? We have been hearing about applications, we have been hearing about software, we have been hearing about technology. Like, there are a lot number of events going on. If you are in college doing your undergraduate program or your master's program, you might be hearing about various events that are going around. Like, if you are in like Kochi, or if you are in Trivandrum, you are in Chennai, you are in Bangalore, Hyderabad, these cities actually have a lot number of communities that are focusing on technology. And they are like, unless if there is a COVID period or a pandemic period, I'm pretty sure that every month there are 2 to 3 events going on, like hackathons, workshops, tech talks, then your college tech fest, then we have dev sprints, we have coding events, online events, offline events. A lot number of events are going on, and every event is actually focusing on the developers to make something useful, like something innovative. We are encouraging the developers to come out and make something innovative that they can show out to the world, and they can say that this particular code or this particular software is awesome, and this particular code that I've made or that I've written will make this particular change in the society or in the world. So while we are talking about softwares and technologies, open source is something very important. Open source means every application or every software has a code, right? A code is something that makes the software, right? So that particular code, if I'm a company, private company, and I don't want to share my code, like I have filed a patent or I have like ownership to my code and I don't want to share my code, then I can actually make it private, or I can use a license saying that these are the terms and conditions. If you want to reuse my code, then you have to follow these terms and conditions, and I'll be using a copyright. I have various licenses that actually restricts people from stealing my code or modifying my code without my permission. So that is actually a bit tough, or a bit like not too exciting for the developers, because the developers are excited about the technology and the software, but this particular thing that restricts them from using that code or testing that code is actually not that good. It's good, but for the developers it's not that good. That's why we have this open source community. The open source community will give the code, like whatever code you have, that particular code is distributed to the community. Not just to the community, distributed to everyone who wants to reuse that code, who wants to modify that code, who wants to sell that code. In short, our open source project means a license to do anything you want. It's not like the license to do anything you want. We have open source licenses that gives you permission to a lot of stuff. Like, you can rewrite the code, you can reuse the code, you can distribute the code, you can sell the code, you can do a lot number of stuff. So let's see what are the different things that you can do with the open source community, open source code, and how you can like do some stuff. Version control. Version control is a superb thing, or it's an amazing thing that this particular GitHub or GitLab, the Git thing has. When you have version control, you can keep track of the events. Like you're starting with a project. You have done some stuff, like you have done A, then you have done some stuff B, but then you realize that while doing stuff B, something has been messed up and your entire code is not working, and you want to roll back. You want to go to the stage A where only A is present and it was totally working. So you like if you have no version control, you cannot just roll back to your code. But with the use of version control, you can you can keep track of the changes that you have made in your repository. You can uh, you can roll back. You can like create branches and do works, and if you want you can merge that branches, you can delete that branches, you can do whatever thing you want in a branch, but that particular thing will not be affecting your main code unless it is merged. So version control is a cool thing. We'll see what is version control later in the session when we'll start with the hands-on. Git. Create code repositories to help developers edit, share, and publish code for all. Git is like, let's talk about GitHub. GitHub is a place where you can push your code. I mean, you can store your code. You can work with several developers at a time. You can publish your codes. You can release them as products. You can test them. You can do continuous integration. You can do continuous deployment, CI/CD. You can do testing. You can host on GitHub. We'll see GitHub hosting too. Let's get started with GitHub. GitHub is a cloud-based Git repository hosting service that allows developers to take code that they have written on the local machines and share it with the world. So yeah, you are working on a project. You are working on an amazing idea that you and your teammates know, but you want your project, or you want your code, or you want your team to share that particular code with the world. You want to share your code with everyone. You want everyone to know what your code is. You want to start a business with that particular code. That particular code or that particular project is the fundamental of your business idea. So you want to share that code with the world. You want to discuss with a lot of investors. You want to add some new thing by collaborating with some developers. So how are you going to share that code? You cannot just take that particular code in a pen drive and give it to someone else. You have to use a cloud platform to host your code and then share it with the world. So what you will do is you can actually like put all your code into a zip file and put it in your Google Drive and share the link. But that won't do, because sharing Google Drive link means they can access your code, they can read your code, but they have to download your code and do something like they want to do some changes to your code. They have to manually download your code, right? So instead of doing all these hectic things, put your code into GitHub. Developers who want to uh, who want to play around with your code, who want to do some testing, who want to do some error fixing and bug fixing, can all work together in a single place, and your main code will not be affected. So that's the main use of GitHub. That's why developers are so crazy about this GitHub thing. Not just uh, code sharing and code testing and bug fixing, but there are a lot number of features in GitHub. We'll see the features soon in this session. Then we have GitHub pages. Let's start with GitHub. If you have GitHub, then please sign into your GitHub account. If you don't have a GitHub account, just sign up for a new account. Yeah, is my GitHub account visible to you all?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let's see some features of GitHub, then we'll like dive into creating a repository and how to get started with your open source contributions. So when you log into your GitHub, this will be the first page that is available to you. That's just a dashboard. Will not worry about the dashboard. Straight dive into the profile. So if you have your GitHub profile, I hope everyone has. So just go to https github.com/ your username. So this will be your profile. So the first page that you can see here, if you have enabled this particular thing, that means your profile, your username slash repository name should be the same. Like my username is Kai here. So my repository name, if it is same as of my username, then I can see a page here on my profile. So if you have enabled that, then you can see whatever README file that you have given in your repository will be available in your profile. So that's a cool feature that GitHub has recently introduced. Then going down, you can pin some of your repositories if you want. Then here you can see the organizations that you're part of. These are the contributions in the last year, the number of contributions that you have made to open source. Then you can see your activity here. Going up, we can see repositories, projects, then feature preview. That's in the beta version. If you want to try out the latest features, then you can enable this one. Else you have to worry about your repositories. So we'll create a repository and we'll start our work. So by clicking here, you can start creating a repository. If you are interested in working with the graphical user interface GUI, then the method that I'm telling you is the right method. But if you are interested in working from CLI, then you can open your terminal and you can start off with the terminal. I'll tell you about the CLI version later, but for the beginners, we are focusing this on the beginners. So GUI is the best way to start for any beginner. So here will be your repository name, whatever repository name you can give. Like if you are giving something ABCD, that's totally fine. Then you can give a description here. Whatever description you want, you can give there. Then there are two ways. Either you can share your code with anyone on the internet, that is public, or you can keep it to yourself, that's private. Then you can add a README. Okay, I'll tell you about README. README is a file. So let's open a repository. This file that you can see here is the README file. Usually the README file is used to give a description to your project. Like this is just a repository, but if your project is about some code and you want your users to know how to install that particular project or how to like contribute to your account or the preliminary details that you want your users or you want your code developers to have will be all put up in the README file of your repository. So every repository will have it's not compulsory, but most of the repositories that you'll be seeing in GitHub will have a README file, and that README file will be having all the details that is relevant to your repository. Then you can add a gitignore file. This gitignore file is followed by a full stop. This particular thing, gitignore file means whenever you're working on a project, you're working on a very big project and your project has a lot number of secrets, your project has a lot number of code, like when you're working on node.js npm, then there are a lot number of files that are installed to set up your environment. But when you're sharing your code with someone else, you don't want that environment files, you don't want your passwords, you don't want your secret files to be shared with everyone, because that environment files will be installed in his or her environment when they are typing the command. So you don't want to share that environment files. So what you will do is you'll add a gitignore file. The gitignore file is like it's relevant to a project, like if you're working on an npm project, then the gitignore that is relevant to the npm is valid there. So you can have a lot number of files here. So these are the like type of gitignore files that you can add to your repository. It's not very relevant, so like we are just starting with our open source contribution, so this gitignore file is not that important here. Then license, this is the best part of open source thing. So we have a lot of license here. We have Apache license, we have GNU GPA 3, we have MIT license, BSD license, all these license. So let's see what these license have to offer. So adding a license to a repository is very easy. Like it's fun adding a license to your repository. So you can like if you are adding a new file and you give the name as license in block letters, then you can have a template button over here in the right. So you can see the license that are available. So let's start with GNU GPL. So the GNU GPL license will give you permissions to commercially use the code. Like if you are finding a repository with a GNU GPL license, that means you can use that code commercially. You can modify that code, you can distribute that code, you can patent, like use that particular code for patenting for your private use. The limitations are there is no warranty or liability. Warranty means the developer who owns the code will not give you any warranty that particular code will be working for this amount of time or that particular code will be working. Then the limitations, the liability. Liability means you cannot hold him responsible for whatever you are doing with that particular code. Then the conditions. Here are some conditions over here. Disclaimer, same license. That means if you are taking a code that is having GNU GPL license and you are redistributing or you are distributing that code, then you have to make sure that you keep the license as GNU GPL 3 only. You can add a new license to whatever code you are writing, but the code that is available in that repository will be always published under GNU GPL. Then you have MIT license. MIT license have the same features as of GNU GPL, but it has some restrictions like commercial use, modifications, distributions, and private use is available there. Then BSD, when you go down this list, the number of restrictions actually, there are a little more restrictions. So, and if you want to publish your own code and you want like MIT license is cool because whenever someone else is taking your code, then they have to write or they have to mention that they have taken this code from you. Like they have to specify your name and they have to tell that this particular person was the one who have written the original code and I'm taken the code from him or her. Then you have a lot number of license. You can actually go through this license. Uh, I generally use GNU GPL or MIT. Like these two licenses are the most preferred one. If you want to use any of the license given here, you can go ahead and use any of the license. So for our purpose, we'll be using GNU GPL 3. Then we can create the repository. So by clicking here, you can create the repository. I won't be creating the repository because I already have repository. I'll be using this particular repository. If you want, you can use the same repository as of me for submitting a pull request, or if you don't want to use this repository, you want to use your own repositories, then it's totally okay. If your repository is an open source, publicly available repository and have the topic Hacktoberfest. Adding a topic is easy. You have to click on settings and just go here, search for Hacktoberfest. So if your repository has this label called Hacktoberfest or Hacktoberfest 2020, it's available publicly, then any contributions that you make to that particular repository will be eligible for the Hacktoberfest by dissolution. Just in case, I'll share the link of this particular thing, yep, in the chat box. So if you want, you can fork the repository and follow along, or if you want to create your own repository and do some really good stuff, then you're more than welcome to do that. So this repository, what we'll do is, the first thing we'll add a file. So adding a file or getting started with this repository, if you want, you can fork the repository. Forking the repository is easy. You have to click here and you can fork to whatever organization you belong to or your own account. Once you have forked this repository, you will have a copy of this repository. So whatever change you make in that copy will not be reflected back to this particular repository unless you make a pull request. So we have an option of adding a file here. So we'll create a new file. So let's name this. Uh, Anyone have any suggestion for a cool name? If you don't, then we can have a cool name dot md. MD is Markdown. Markdown language means you can Markdown is similar to HTML, but Markdown has its own syntax. Let's see the syntax of Markdown. Don't have to worry about the Markdown language. Just create any file name followed by .md. Uh, if you want your resume or if you want your profile to be available publicly, then what you have to do is you have to create your name .md and submit. Whatever you're submitting in this particular repository will be available publicly. Let's see how that happens in a couple of minutes. So coolname.md. So what we'll write here is cool name. Let's see how it looks. I'll write cool name with 2 hashtags. Now I'll write cool name with 3 hashtags. You can see the changes, right? What are the different syntax and what are the effects of that particular syntax here, right? And if you use just cool name, you can see. So these are nothing but the h1, h2, h3, h4 tags in HTML. Like whenever you're starting an MD file, Markdown file, the first thing will be the name of the file or whatever you want to give as the heading or topic name will be given with a single hashtag. The subtopics can be given with 2 hashtags or 3 hashtags as you like. So we'll go with a single hashtag. We'll be writing, we are doing a cool project, and here we go. Let's see how it looks. Okay, now I'll copy this, paste it again. Now with a different syntax. I'll put a star here and another star here. Let's see how it looks. You can see that giving a star at the beginning and end will make the sentence in italics. Now let's go with underscore. Same italics. Now if you want to give a break, You can either use the break tag or give a to enter. Like you have to give at least 2 lines in between to have a break. Now if you are using 2 stars, then that becomes bold. So you don't have to remember all these. These are some of the cool stuff that you can, like, you'll be getting used to all this stuff when you are starting to, like, you have started with your open source contributions. These are just some things that you have to, like, you don't even have to keep in mind. These are things that you will know on your own, and these are some fun stuff. So yeah, now I'll show you one more thing. If you have want to have bulleted points, then A, B, C, D, E, F. So this will come as bulleted points. Bulleted points, you have to give a hyphen. That's all. So I'm erasing these 2 lines. Going back, I can commit this directly to main branch or create a new branch and start a pull request. So what I'll do is commit this directly to the branch. That means I'm directly pushing this code to my main branch. That means the main code I'm committing directly. So you can see that I have a new file here, mean name cool name, and the time is right now. So let's see if this particular page is available. I've hosted this repo somewhere. So let's see if this particular thing is available. Coolname.md. Eh, Here we go. Hacktoberfest, celebrating Hacktoberfest with open source community. Cool name. We are doing a cool project, and here we go. So here are, so whatever file you put it in the main repository with an MD extension. Not even if there is no MD, and if you want to use HTML page, you can use that. Give a pull request and you can visit your file at qsatsoe.github.io/hacktoberfest/yoni. So let's start with GitHub. I'll show you the pull request thing. Then we'll go to version control. Then we can do some GitHub hosting stuff. So you want to do a pull request. Create a new file. Now this is supercool.md. Supercool. We are super cool this time, and we'll create a new branch and start a pull request. You can give whatever name you want. You can give cool branch, and you're proposing a new file change. So here you have option to give a description to the developer. This is cool branch, and create a pull request. When you create a pull request, the owner or the maintainer of that particular repository will be able to see your pull request. Here. So here you have, and you can merge your pull request, or he may discard your pull request based upon the requirement of the repository. If you have followed the contribution guidelines and you have made a relevant pull request, that pull request will be accepted to any repository. And you can delete the branch. If you don't want to delete the branch and you want to make some more cool things, you can create a lot number of branches. You can do work, like you can do whatever you want in that particular branch, and then you can delete the branch. You don't want to populate your repository with a lot number of branches just like that, right? So here we have super cool, right? Yeah, super cool. We are super cool this time. And now we can see version control. Before going to version control, you have to make sure that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 files here, right? And the super cool file was added now. And let's assume that this super cool file has made my repository. My code was working, and now the super cool file has made my code error. Like my code is not working, throwing out some errors and giving me headaches. So what I want to do is I want to roll back. 8 commits has been made into this repository. So I know that this super cool branch was added just now. Let's go to a time. Let's time travel. Let's go to a time where this super cool was not there. Let's go to a time when only cool name was available. So I'm going back to a time, and as you can see, we have license, readme, config, and cool name. We don't have a super cool name here. That means we have traveled back to past. That means you are in a past branch. This branch name is something that you don't want to read. And if you want, you can roll back to this particular repository. And if you want to go further, then you can go further in past or in future. You can time travel using this version control. You can jump to any repository. You can jump back to any branch or any time. Like whatever file you have track changes, you can go back to that particular time. So that's a cool feature. Then we have something called the settings. Every repository will have this settings thing. So here we are. Scrolling down, you can see GitHub pages stuff. So using this GitHub pages, you can host your repositories online. Let's see how that works actually. So all you have to do is you have to make a repository called your username dot github.io. Mm, I'll show you my code here slash my name dot github.io. You have to be very careful about the name of the repository. It should be your username.github.io in order to use the GitHub pages hosting. So I've pushed some code here and then gone to settings. All you have to do is create a repository with your username.github.io. Come down to settings. In the GitHub pages stuff, all you have to do is master. If you have various other branches and you want to host not your main repository, not the main branch, but some other branch, then you can go to that branch. I'm using my master branch, that's why master. Then the folder, the root folder or the docs folder, whatever folder that you want to host, you can select that folder. If you want, you can use a theme. I'm not using a theme. And if I'm hosting this repository like that, then my repository will be available kaya.github.io. But this is something else, right? That's because I've used a custom page here. The custom domain, if you want to host your repository to a custom domain, like you have a domain like abc.com and you want to point to that particular thing, then you can give your custom domains here and that will be redirecting to your custom domains. So this is what I've done in my repository. So whatever you have pushed into your repository will be available here. So that's how you share your code publicly or you showcase your works. Now let's see how you can showcase your profile, the profile page for any repository. So if you want to have a cool README page like this or whatever, then all you have to do is create a repository github.com/username/username. Now whatever sheet you post in this particular repository's README will be reflected back to your code. So let's see I'll just add a line and I'll delete that line so that you can see what are the changes that uh, here I'll put some changes to the repo and I'll commit directly. Now I'm going back to my profile. This is my profile, right? Yep. So you can see some changes to the repo. Whatever shit you are doing in that particular repository, your username slash your username will be reflected back on your profile. So you can go back to the repository, discard that changes. You don't want this, some changes to the repository. It will be like shown to everyone who visits your repository. Like you want to display some cool stuff, not some shitty stuff. So you can delete that. Hey, where is that? Magic. Magic happened. Okay. 21 seconds ago, my GitHub Actions has pushed some new developments here. That's why that line is gone. That's actually a custom workflow, GitHub Actions workflow that pushes on my behalf every day. So you can have your own actions, like, but getting started to open source contributions, you don't have to worry about GitHub Actions or GitHub workflows or GitHub projects. You have to just create a repository, do some stuff. If you are interested in web development stuff, then you can search for the repositories that you love, like web development stuff, web dev, and you can search. And you have a lot of repositories here, 78,000 repositories. So all you have to do is go to some repositories, read the guidelines before you contribute to any repository. So let's visit one of my own repositories and see if I have some guidelines. Let's go to Hackathon. So this is my repository and I have some contributing.md file. That means these are the guidelines that you need to be follow before you make a open source contribution. Like whenever you are making a pull request to my repository, I want you to follow these guidelines. You have to make a branch and create a pull request, not just directly pushing it. So mine is very, very basic one. You don't have to break your head. You have to make a pull request. That's all. So always read the guidelines before making a pull request and make sure you follow your ethics. Like don't add a space, don't enter a new line and create a pull request, but make some relevant changes to your repository. Like relevant changes to your pull request. Don't just do it for the sake of a t-shirt, but make sure you learn something from that pull request and make sure you make sure your contribution counts. Make it a valid contribution, not a shitty one. So I guess I've given you some basic stuff about the, yeah, like time for questions. If you have any doubts regarding whatever thing that I've,
Sir, like, can you show me the version control once more?
yeah, sure. So I'm going to my own repository. Just a minute. Uh, we have created something. Yeah, QSAT SOE. This thing, right? Yeah. So we are here and we have this. We have like this the number of total commits that I've made to this repository. So I have 8 commits from the like I've created this repository and till now I've created 8 commits to this repository and I can see all the 8 commits with date. Like 18th October, I've made 3 commits. One was adding cool name, one was adding super cool, like creating a super cool pull request, then merging that pull request. So if I want to jump back to any of these, like I want to jump back to a time when cool and super cool were not there. So I want to jump back to October 6th. Here we have browse this repository at this particular time. So I'm clicking on that and going to the repository at 8th October or whatever date it was mentioned. So there is only license, readme and config and there are no cool and super cool. Like cool and super cool were added today, and this repository is 1 week or 2 week older, so there are no things like that. Like if you add some file or if you create some commits that make some unwanted change to your repository, then there is always the option to roll back. So here you are this 2 weeks before, and if you want you can download the code that you are downloading will be the code in this repository, not the latest one. If you want to download the latest code, then go to the main branch, and if you want to download the code that you have pushed in past, then go to that particular time, then download your code, and you can give a push, then your repository will be like you have successfully rolled back to that particular date. I guess I'm clear. If you have any more questions, please. Yeah, I'll show you one more thing. You have this, you everyone is excited about open source contributions and everyone wants to have some cool t-shirts, right? So I'll show you what are the opportunities available there so that you can earn a lot number of t-shirts. I'll put the link in the chat box so that you can access this particular repository. And anytime you feel like you want a dev t-shirt or you want a dev swag, just go to this particular website devswag.io and you can see the current stuff. Like let's see what are the current stuff available. So here, this is Hacktoberfest. Submit one successful pull request and win a free t-shirt. Submit one pull request and win a cool swag. Submit valid PR and get t-shirt, mask and sticker pack for Meeden. Like these are the organizations or communities that want contributions to their particular repositories, and you are making a successful contribution to their repository, you can have extra gifts, not from the DigitalOcean one, but their own gifts. And if you want, hey Circle CI, if you are 1 to 3 successful like valid pull requests, then you have limited edition t-shirt, sticker and pull request. Yep. Then you have Switchblade, you have Hasura. Hasura will always give you a secret swag if you are doing some cool stuff. Then IHP, you don't have to do anything. Fill out the form and get some stickers sent to you directly. You don't have to do anything. Just fill the form with your address and your stickers are there. Aquasec, you have to make some relevant pull request to get a t-shirt. You can have earthly, you can have Devfolio. This is actually a bit tough. Like top 50 contributors will get a t-shirt and ships to India only. And there are some organizations that will ship only to North America. So make sure you're like if your aim is to get a t-shirt, then make sure you see where are they shipping. OpenEBS, yeah, you can have some cool stuff from here. Then yeah, Camuda, you can have some t-shirt and some stickers. Then indeed you can have a sweatshirt, cool. Mattermost, you can have a mug. And then Login Radius, cool stuff. They always give you t-shirt. AppRed will give you stickers. What are they giving? Stickers, magnets, pins, cool. Hacktoberfest. This year you can have a purple one or a white one. Either one we can select, or you can select for planting a tree. There are a lot number of opportunities here. You just have to visit this repository, make some open source pull request, valid pull request, then you will be having dev swags with you. So any more questions? If there are any questions, feel free to pitch in or else we can wind up. Rakesh bro, I guess everyone is ready to start with their open source contributions and they have no doubts at all.
Yes, it appears so. So, I'm guessing, end of the session.
Sir,
Any
like
questions out?
how to like push your repository from a local machine to the GitHub.
Yeah, sure. I'll just show you. So yeah, make sure you just tell me when you can see my terminal.
Hey Kai.
Can you see my terminal?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you have downloaded, okay, you want to download your code first of all. So either you can like download it from the GUI stuff, like you have to go to your repository and you can download from here as a zip file, or you can clone. So I'll show you how to clone it. Git clone https, oh, sorry, github.com/kair slash whatever is the name of your repository. Like I'll just clone Kair. So a folder will be created. Let's see here. You have a folder. Then navigate into that folder. So you have license, readme, and update. I'll just add a new file. Touch abcd.md. Then let's put some stuff into that. ABCD. Here we go. Now the three magical words that you have to remember always while working with GitHub CLI. The first one is git add dot. You can use git add dot if you are on the current repository where you have made changes, or if you don't want to bother about the changes, whatever directory you have made changes, you have just made changes. Git add minus minus all. Then git commit minus m. Here we go. This is git commit minus m for message, and whatever message you want to, like whenever you're pushing a code, you want other developers or you want yourself to understand on a later time that what changes you have made. Like you can't just go and see the code, but giving a single line comment will always tell you what are the changes that you have made. And if you want to see that if some changes have been made by someone else on your repository, then you can use a git pull thing. And if you want to know the status of your repository, like the local repository, then you can see that your branch is ahead of master branch by one commit. That one commit is, here we go. All you have to do is git push. It'll ask for your username. It'll ask for your password. I'll just push it. I guess I've given my password correct. Yep. So I'm pushing it. Okay, let's see if this push is valid and I've made some relevant changes to my repository. So I'll go to Kaia/Kaia and let's see if the change is reflected back here. Yeah, abcd.md. Let's see what are the changes. This is a commit. Here we go. And let's see the content. Yeah, abcd. Here we go. I guess that's okay. How to search Hacktober related repositories. Cool. If you want to search for Hacktoberfest related repositories, all you have to do is search for Hacktoberfest here. Hacktoberfest. 49,000 repositories are there. All these are Hacktoberfest related repositories only. And someone is asking which one is better, CLI or GUI? I personally prefer CLI because in GUI you have to commit for each file or each new file you are creating. But in CLI, you can create 10 files or 20 files or 100 files and you can just push everything in a single line. And I personally use my terminal for everything. So I feel CLI is better, but it's up to you. It's up to you. If you are comfortable with GUI, then GUI is better. And if you're comfortable with terminal, then terminal is better. It's up to you. Anything else, or we can just wind up? Will the Hacktober repos merge my commit request? If you are making some relevant request, then yeah, they will surely make sure. Okay, do one thing. You are just a beginner and you want to get your t-shirt right. Cool. Uh, I put this. Yeah, I put the link of this repository in the chat, right? So all you have to do is make some pull request here. I'll make sure that I'll approve your pull request. uh, okay, make one pull request here. Okay, no more than one pull request. So out of 4, you can have one pull request in this repository, and you can make other pull requests in any other repositories. I guess I have some repositories of my own that I've been accepting responses for Oktoberfest. So this is my profile here. I'll share here. And I guess all the repositories that you can find here, pinned ones, are accepting pull requests for Oktoberfest. Hey, that's my background, man. Okay, so make sure you make a pull request, and if your pull request is if your pull request looks decent, then I'll make sure I'll accept it. Okay, so all the best for your Hacktoberfest journey.
Okay, so if there are no more questions, then I guess it's time to wind up the session. So thank you everyone for joining. And also Kai, thank you for taking the session.